Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Ito ay nangangailangan ng patnubay at gabay ng magulang para sa mga batang manonood.
A fabulous morning to everyone. Let us start your day by obtaining some sort of information that you can gain here in YDI, your daily dose of information.
For today's episode, we'll be giving you guys an information that you have never heard before. Because we hear you and saw all the comments of you. That's why we come up with the decision that the episode for today is all about literary arts.
Let us welcome our guests for today, Princess Marie, Christina, Gascon, and Luz.
Hi guys!
Welcome to our show. I heard that you guys are pro in doing different types of literary arts, most especially in spoken poetry.
Wow, thank you for that compliment, but I would like to tell that we are on the process of learning every day, and we do believe that there are some people who are better than us. So we think we are just on the process of being a pro. But thank you for that compliment, it really boosts our self-esteem.
Wow, what a humble person.
So guys, since today's episode is about appreciating literary, I would like to start the conversation by me giving an overview of literary arts. Literary arts includes poetry, journalism, blogging, and creative writing. Students relate to popular films by reading the script and writing their own stories in this format. All the basic elements of storytelling and screenwriting are taught, including structure, plot, characters, dialogue, and conflict. Literary comes from the two words, namely art and literature. Art means the expression of human feelings that have beauty value, while literature is absorption on word that comes from discussed Sanskrit, which means guide, guidance, or order in the form of text or voice. So it can be concluded that art is actually a writing or story that comes from the expression of human feelings that have beauty values.
What an information. I could tell that you really prepared for today's episode, huh?
Yes, of course, partner. Para hindi naman nakakaya sa mga guests natin, di ba?
Yes, you're right. So we need to continue this episode with Merlin by explaining us on the what are the major forms of literature.
So there are two forms of literature, which are the prose and poetry. So let me start by discussing the prose, followed by poetry. Prose, this form of literature has no formal metrical structure. It is so-called ordinary writing, since it is a literary piece which is written in the pattern of ordinary spoken language and within the common flow of conversation. And for the poetry, this is the form of literature is a vast subject, as old as history as older, present for every religion is present, possibly under some definition, the primal and the primary form of languages themselves. The present article means only to describe in as general as a way as possible certain properties of poetry and of poetic thought regarded as in some sense independent modes of.
As a continuation of what Merlin said, there are 5 main genres of literature, which are poetry, drama, prose, nonfiction, and vidya. So in poetry, it is a masterpiece that evokes a concentrated, imaginative awareness of experience, or a specific emotional response through language, chosen and arranged for its meaning, sound, and rhythm. So for the example of Poetry by Emily Dickinson, hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul, and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweet as in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm, that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. In drama, it is a mode of fictional representations through dialogue and performance. It is one of the literary genres which is an imitation of some action. Drama is also a type of play written for theater, television, radio, and film. An example of drama is Romeo and Juliet, written by William Shakespeare. Next is prose. Once you know what poetry is, it is easy to define prose. Prose can be defined as any kind of written text that isn't poetry, which means drama discussed below is technically a type of prose. The most typical varieties of prose are novels and short stories, while other types include letters, diaries, journals, and non-fiction prose is written in complete sentences and organizing paragraphs. Instead of focusing on sound, which is what poetry does, prose tends to focus on plot and characters, and here is the example of prose. She wasn't doing a thing that I could see except standing there leaning on the balcony railing, holding the universe together. A Girl I Knew by J.D. Salinger. Nonfiction can be creative, such as personal essay, or factual, such as scientific paper. Sometimes the purpose of nonfiction is to tell a story, but most of the time, the purpose is to pass on information and educate the reader about certain facts, ideas, and or issues. Nonfiction means it is all factual, and the story is all real, such as the event and the people. The biography of Rizal can be a great example of nonfiction. And for the last genre of literature, which is the media, this categorization was created to encompass the many new and important kinds of text in our society today, such as movies and films, websites, commercials, billboards, and radio programs. Any work that doesn't exist primarily as a written text can probably be considered media, particularly if it relies on recently developed technologies.
Wow, very informative explanation. Since our discussion is getting interesting, we won't hang you anymore. So here is Russell as one of our hosts to give us the elements of literature, because we know it is not sufficient to host without sharing any insights or knowledge about the discussions for today's episode.
Yeah, that's right, partner. That's why I will not allow myself entering here in the virtual meeting without being ready. So for continuation, I will be sharing you guys my knowledge about the elements of literature. There are 6 elements of literature, which is the plot, settings, character, point of view, theme, and tone. Plot refers to all of the related things that happen in a sequence of the story. The shape of the plot comes from the order of these events and consists of several distinct aspects that will look at it at turn. Next is the setting, which consists of 2 key elements, which is space and time. Space refers to where the story happened, most oftenly the geographical location where the action of the story takes place. Time refers to when the story. This could be a historical period, the present, or in the future. Third is character. Characters most often make human form, but on occasion, a story can employ animals, fantastical creatures, and even inanimate objects as characters. Fourth in the list is the point of view. Point of view in the literature refers to the perspective through which you experience the events of the story. Fifth is theme. The theme is the big ideas that are explored in work of literature. These are often universal ideas that transcend the limits of the culture, ethnicity, and language. The theme is the deeper meaning behind the events that happens in the story. And last on the list is the tone. Tone refers to how the theme is treated in work. 2 works may have the same theme, but each may adopt a different tone in dealing with that theme. For example, the tone of a text can be serious, funny, comical, formal, informal, gloomy, joyful, sarcastic, or sentimental, to name all the 3.
Wow, it seems like you really do your research, huh? I'm impressed with what you said. This is unusual that the host of the show really have a lot of ideas and knowledge about the topic. Because most of the time, what I have noticed, it is always the guests that share insights and knowledge.
Wow, thank you for that.
I would like to hear Christina to talk about poetry.
First of all, I would like to show my gratitude to the host for inviting us to share our knowledge by using this platform. So in line with my topic, poetry, it is a type of literature based on the interplay of words and rhythm. it often implies rhyme and meter, a set of rules governing the number and arrangement of syllables in each line. In poetry, words are strung together to form sounds, images, and ideas that might be too complex or abstract to describe directly. Poetry was once written according to fairly strict rules of meter and rhyme, and each culture had its own rules. For example, Anglo-Saxon poets had their own rhyme and schemes and meters, while Greek poets and Arabic poets had others. Although these classical forms are still widely used today, modern poets frequently do away with rules altogether. Their poems generally do not rhyme and do not fit any particular meter. These poems, however, still have a rhythmic quality and seek to create beauty through their words. As a continuation of poetry, Marie will be going to discuss the elements of it.
Good day! In line with what Christina said, the elements of poetry are: first, image, which is mental pictures of the poet creates through language. The next one is diction, the selection of specific words. The third one is form, the arrangement of words, lines, verses, rhymes, and other features. The next is cadence, a rhythmic change in the inflection of sound from words being spoken, sometimes referred to the flow of words. The next is couplet, two lines of verses that rhyme at the end and that thought as one unit. Meter, a rhythm that continuously repeat single basic pattern. The next is rhyme, words that end with similar sounds usually at the end of the line of the poem. The next is rhyming, two lines of the poem together with the same rhythm. The next is rhythm, a pattern of created sounds with sounds, hard, soft, long, shorts, bouncy, quiet to loud, weak to strong. The next is stanza, a part of poem with similar rhythm and rhyme that will usually repeat later on the poem. The last one is verses, a line of poem or a group of lines within a long poem.
Thanks guys for giving us an interesting discussion. So we are on the final stage, which is to give conclusion to what guys you think in the significance of literary arts in general.
I do believe that there are people who are not capable of showing their appreciation, gratitude, emotions, or whatsoever through gestures. There are people who preferred writing whatever thought and or ideas in their mind in order for them to show what they feel and to show their emotions through the use of writing. That makes the literary arts significant to individuals because if they are not capable of showing what they want to show physically or in face-to-face contact, they can show and express their emotions and whatsoever by just writing it on the paper.
Wow, that's a great explanation and conclusion on the significance of literary arts. So guys, before we end up the episode, why don't you guys show us your new spoken poetry? We heard that you guys rehearse your new spoken poetry.
Yes, of course, it's our pleasure to let you guys hear our own composed spoken poetry performed.
People ask me why you're always sad. I said, I don't know. I really don't know. I didn't know what feeling is this. I'm happy every morning. I'm sad and in pain every evening. In the middle of the night, darkness rules over me. I see myself crying and sitting silently. I feel like I'm cursed in silence. I want to shout. I want to cry, but I don't want to end my life. Depression is killing me. It's getting into my nerves, and it eats me up daily. It always come and ruled my mind. Depression is shouting me to kill myself every night, to put a chain in my neck, to cut my wrist, and it drives me insane because I'm loudly crying in pain. I don't know how to handle it. I want someone to help me out of this shit. I don't want it, and I don't want it anymore. But I'm afraid to tell to everyone. I'm afraid to this world that I have. Afraid to tell what I really feel. Fear that I will be judged by everyone, that who only knows the wrong in me, that who only knows that I'm just pretending. I know that I'm weak, but I want to escape. I want to survive. I want to feel myself again without voices in my head. I want to run away. I want someone to grab my hand without being judged. Can somebody grab my hand?
This spoken poetry is all about depression. We all know naman na depression is a kind of mixed emotion of a person. In this poetry, we try to show the situation of a person having a depression, and it's not easy to handle. A person who deal with depression about she or he didn't want that kind of feeling. This person afraid to speak up about depression kasi laging may discrimination and judgment. So in the last line, can somebody grab my hand? He or she waiting somebody to help him or her without judgment of what he or she had. It is also show that if you have someone who have this kind of feeling or situation, don't judge them because you didn't know how hard they try to be strong and to take courage to face that. Instead of judging them, try to help them.
Wow, thank you for that.
And that's all for the episodes for today. Appreciating literary arts. We hope that the audience really learned a lot from today's episode.
So guys, don't forget to comment something that you want to talk about for our next episode. I'm Jen Russell,
And I am Princess Besares,
your host
in your daily dose of information. See you on the
See you in the
next
next episode.
You